Conversation I had with Ryan happened right after the traditional senior tackle. It's a very intimate gathering with the seniors and their families. And I asked him, what do you like about being the head coach at Ohio State? And he said the people, the top 1%, trying to be the top 1% of that. And so I followed up and said, well, what makes it worth the scrutiny? And he said, you want to be on the biggest stage, and in many cases it's better to have loved than lost and never have loved at all, putting him into the arena, I guess. But when you hear the things that he says and the reaction to what's been a good record but these failings against Michigan, what's your reaction to it, Nick?
Well, I think every coach has got to define how he wants to do it, and I have a lot of respect for Ryan Day and how he's tried to do it. For me, I always wanted to get every player in the organization to reach their full potential. So it wasn't so much about the outcome, it was what you had to do to make everybody better. But a big part of that was insulating the players from external factors, criticism, internet. I used to tell the players all the time, why do you care about what some guy puts on the internet who's a fat guy in his underwear living in his mother's basement?
Jeez.
Why do you care? Why does that mean anything to you? Why does that affect you in any way, shape, or form? We should be focused on what we control and what we can do. And it's the same thing for the fans. I would tell the fans the same thing. If Ohio State wants to beat Michigan, they need to be positive about the coach and the players. There's nobody who wants to beat them worse than the players and the coaches. That's number one. Number two, they have an opportunity to win the national championship. Everybody ought to be sporting the hell out of them so that they have the best opportunity to do it and quit all this negative bull.
See, what I love about that is you were doing fine for about the first 30 seconds, and then something
couldn't take it
lit
anymore.
A fuse, and you put yourself in that environment because you've lived there, and we're doing a pretty good job here. How about pushing behind instead of being in front of us? How about getting behind us and helping us down the field here? Coach, again, you've lived it. What's interesting to me, I went to the senior tackle. My son Zach, who had a heart issue, was on that part of that class, and it was every position coach would come up with his seniors. He'd talk about them, very emotional. And then the player would come up, grab the mic, and he would have to talk in front of the whole team. Pretty cool thing. What I found, and I don't mean to, I'm not sharing anything, but I was just blown away by how the players, the seniors of this team, I'm talking Jack Sawyer, who had the flag. Yeah. They really have. I think there is to their credit. There was pain, but I think they put that behind them. And I don't know how many times I heard we get a 4-game season. We got 4 games. I mean, I must have heard it 50 times in a couple hours I was there. So I do think they've done a really good job, Pat, of trying to push that pain and grieving over that, and then getting over it and focusing on what they need to do.
Yeah, and the 4-game season would obviously be fantastic. And we talked back about that Georgia game. We showed the clip. I was actually standing under the upright that was headed towards, right next to A.J. Hawk, who I am incredibly lucky to be co-host every single day with.
Monday through Friday.
And chit-chat with on ESPN. And he's like Ohio State icon.
And it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 to the new year, and the ball's headed right to you.
Yeah, so we see that right there. And then I look at the heartbreak of A.J. Hawk, right? Because obviously they lose to Michigan, they get in the playoff, you win that game, and then Georgia would go on to beat TCU by like 60 or whatever the case was. So whenever you're from Ohio, though, and obviously, Kirk, you know this, and Des, you were born in Ohio, then you go up to Michigan. That is one of those football fan bases that is all in all the time. Every aspect of their life is the Buckeyes. That is how they view, it's a religion for them. And they expect you to win because back when you were there and then when Tressel came along and then Urban comes along, they win. And they beat Michigan throughout a lot of that. So to lose to Michigan and then not win national championship, even though it's only been 6 years, it's like those people can't handle that. And that's just how it is in Ohio. I think whenever he said, worst day of my life outside of my father passing away, I think he was saying that to let the Ohio people know, hey, this is hard on me too. I am not happy about it. I don't know if he's won over any favors, but they got to win these games, and I think everybody knows that over there.
So I thought during the offseason when they spent $20 million to go handpick some players in the portal to bring them to Columbus, for the primary reason was to beat Michigan, I thought that they put him in a bad situation. Not only that, but then they went out and got Chip Kelly, who was the head coach of UCLA and became his offensive coordinator. In my opinion, that was like the athletic director and the powers that be saying, we're pushing all of our chips in the middle of the table, Ryan. This is the year you have to get it done. And I thought that was too much pressure on him. I really did. I sent out a Instagram message once I saw that, and I said, man, this is unfair. But
with that being said, Ryan Day was an assistant coach in Columbus. He understands the culture down there. When he accepted the head coaching job, he knew what was the expectations of him. And because he just hasn't, lived up to those expectations,
it's crazy.
Hold on. You make a face. You make a face.
He's 66 and 10.
Let me address that. That's because the 10 are normally teams who are equal to him as far as roster and talent. Now, you're talking about the other teams that he's been able to beat. Those teams normally don't have 4 or 5-star guys. But when he's went up against these other teams, don't want to even talk about Missouri. They went up against Missouri last year.
Left out. Everybody portaled out.
They went up against Missouri and had 3 points. Like, to me, you're Ohio State, though. You out-recruit Missouri. You're supposed to score more than 3 points. More than 3 points against Missouri. I'm just saying, listen, I like the guy. I'm just saying this is what his record is. You guys look at somebody's record and don't believe this is who they are as a coach.
No, that's not true. Because
that's why we were in Dublin. When we were in Dublin, you would have asked me, Coach. You said something about you said you guys. You said you can't recognize X, Y, and Z. I said you guys are steady giving people the benefit of the doubt, who's only earned reasonable doubt. So far, his record, especially against top 5 or top 10 opponents, should only give you reasonable doubt. He hasn't earned the benefit of the doubt yet. Just because he's Ohio State's coach, you want to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I don't want to dominate this on this end, but in my judgment, there's only one loss to Michigan that was bad, and it's this year. The previous 3 years, Michigan was better than them. I mean,
But they wasn't better because they had a better roster.
Team.
They were better because they were a better coach team.
They had a better team. I don't know if they were a better coach.
Not a better roster. They had a better coach team. When you match, listen, Ohio State,
Michigan had a lot of guys.
In the last 5 or 6 recruiting cycles, they've been top 5.
How many guys?
Michigan.
How many guys did Michigan get drafted last year?
Thank you. That's because they've been developed.
Okay.
That's the thing.
But
These guys were 4 or 5 stars coming out of high school all the time. That's what he's had top 5 recruiting classes.
Don't try to say that they had a team full of Rudies wearing those winged helmets.
Well, listen, I was hoping that Rudy pulled a hamstring personally.
Jeez, Rudy pull a hamstring. Never get it.
Exactly.
Well,
Ryan Day's in a tough spot. Everything you just said, Ryan Day's in a tough spot.
I sat in that seat for 17 years because they thought we should win every game we ever played at Alabama, and we lost some that we shouldn't have, and it happens sometimes. And it's hard to deal with success, and it's hard to deal with failure. But I think when everybody in the organization is positive about what you're trying to do, I'm talking about coaches, players, fans, everybody that has anything to do with the organization. I always said the fans were a part of the team, and they shouldn't have any greater expectations for the team than they have for themselves. And I think people that create a negative atmosphere, regardless of the circumstance, only hurt their chances of being successful.
That's the thing, Kirk, I talked to a half dozen Buckeyes on Saturday or on Sunday too, and it was almost like they were encouraging and imploring the fans, get behind us. Get behind us Saturday night. We'll see what the atmosphere is like.